All right, so now we are going to be going over what exactly Little Mermaid is capable of doing. So we can see here, this is the current build. Not really anything too noteworthy here, but that's not necessarily the point. We're not looking at her damage, right? We're looking at what she's able to provide as a supporter character, and honestly, the two biggest aspects of her kit, which are strictly supporting, is the skill 1 and the burst skill. So we can go ahead and jump over the bubble order. What exactly does it do, right? So it activates only when in focusing status. It affects all allies. The focus fires continuously. So that's going to occur when she is constantly firing all of her stuff on one single enemy, and she's going to enter that status, right? But once she does, we are going to be affecting all allies. And what this is going to do is when the full burst ends, all of our cooldowns are going to be reduced by 7 seconds, which is phenomenal. That is incredible, great team-wide buffs. Now, when we enter the full burst, is our attack damage is going to be increased by 3.67 for 10 seconds. I only have this at level 8. I highly recommend people to get this to level 10 because this is probably one of the best skill 1 burst, or just skill 1s in the game, not burst. We'll be going over her burst actually, but best overall skill 1. I think this has a strong contention to actually be that because of what it does. It reduces the burst skill. It also increases your overall damage for everybody on the team. Very good. Skill 2 involves around her specific damage to a single enemy. I bumped this up a little bit just so she can contribute a little bit to the team damage. Not necessarily required. You could probably stop this at level 5. Honestly, it's not really a big deal. Now, the burst skill is actually very good, Siren Song, and once you activate it, all your enemies or all your allies are going to have their damage increased by 8.02 for 10 seconds. This is only at skill level 5, so that possibility could be even greater. And then her own individual damage is going to be increased. Not necessarily the best, right? We've talked about that. And her ability to also cause all allies reload 26.33% of their magazine is phenomenal. Now, another key aspect with her skill 1 is that activates each time when the total ammo consumed by allies reaches 400. All allies are going to fill their burst gauge by 33.91%. Very strong. And the key with that really is to run her on a team with people who have submachine guns, assault rifles, or light machine guns, right? So I do think her paired with Roppy Red Hood right here is going to be very good. Obviously, Litter, very strong, giving a team-wide buff just by existing. And then we have the dynamic duo of Naga and Crown. So we're going to go ahead and jump in here. We're going to run her with this setup just to see how it goes. And then we're also going to be taking Little Mermaid off. We're going to be putting Dorothy on, I think, just to really see how much we're going to really be able to do. So we're going to wait. So boom, Little Mermaid is popping off right there. Very good burst animation, I do want to say. Naga going to be going off right here. And then we are going to be getting Roppy Red Hood. And I'm going to wait until the burst gauge is completely filled. And then we're going to be looking at how much damage we're going to be doing, right? So boom, burst done. 24 million. Very good. So let's go ahead and exit out of that. We're going to quit that. So 24.4 million, which just with her, honestly, very strong. Now, obviously, we could emphasize and increase the overall damage if we, just kept it going, but that's not necessarily the point of this. The point of this is to see how much of a damage increase Little Mermaid actually provides. So we'll run this with Dorothy, and then we'll also put Little Mermaid back on, and we'll have Litter go as well. So same thing's going to be done here. Dorothy, Naga, and then Roppy Red Hood. And then once the burst gauge is completely empty, then we'll go ahead and look at the overall damage that has been done by Roppy Red Hood. 20.5. So almost a 5 million damage difference. Now that's not necessarily the best for Dorothy, but you know, that's just how it is, I guess. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and swap up again. What we're gonna do this time is Dorothy's gonna come off. Where is Little Mermaid? We'll put Litter up here, and then I think we'll go ahead and swap these two. Yeah, we'll swap these two to see, and then we'll also swap these two to get a full picture as to the damage we're going to be outputting. But I do think we're going to have more overall damage output with Little Mermaid over Litter. So keep in mind the benchmark we have set already is 25.5 million, which is very good. So boom, yep, get them burst animations going. Crown always looking good. Robbie Red Hood. All right, so again, we're gonna wait until the burst gauge is completely out, and then we're going to examine the damage. 30.1. Okay, so good amount. Again, now we have to swap the first two again to really see how they compete with one another. So we're gonna go ahead and bump here, and then we're gonna see. So 30.1 million with Litter and Crown. Again, you know, whatevs. Same thing. We're gonna let the burst skill animations go all the way through. Boom, boom, boom. Very, very good. And then once the burst bar has completely drained, we are going to check out what we're able to do. 31.4. Okay. So the damage output is actually greater. Huh. Not by much, but it's still greater. So Little Mermaid is honestly the best teammate for Robbie Red Hood. Wow. I might swap Litter out in the future for somebody else, maybe for like a support, I guess. But I mean, boom. Yeah, I might do that for like an attack buffer, but very, very impressed with Little Mermaid. I actually did not think that was going to be that noticeable. So yeah, Little Mermaid's very, very good. I'm obviously going to be doing way more testing with her, but I'm very impressed with what they did with her. Her design, I just think is phenomenal. So they did a very, very good job with the 2.5 anniversary character. Very happy as a supporter, and she's very good.